Hey everyone, this is Jonas with AccuRC, and welcome to the second episode of AccuRC Home Practice. This little series we're showing you some maneuvers you can practice at home to improve your skills, to generally add something new to your flying, or just for some fun. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look at Piroflips. As with the last video, let's first take a look at what a Piroflip actually looks like. So the name suggests that it's a pirouetting flip, so we'll have the model pirouette and constantly flip while it's pirouetting. So you can see I'm, for this Piroflip, holding full right rudder. I'm a right rudder guy. You can of course also do this with left rudder, and constantly giving cyclic inputs to keep the flip orientation forward. You can also do this in reverse rudder, obviously. I don't want to say I'm good at it, but you get the idea. So the first thing you want to be competent at is obviously flipping normally. So you want to be able to do a regular front flip continuously, also with stops in between. You want to be able to flip the helicopter forward. You also want to be able to flip backward. And since the Piroflip constantly changes through all flipping orientations, you also want to be able to flip it on roll. Something else that is good to know is how to move a flip left and right across the runway, because that will also come in handy when correcting the position of the flip. So yeah, you really just want to be comfortable with doing continuous flips. And what we're going to do then is we're going to slow down the simulator, because that always helps with understanding where your sticks should go and how to control the maneuver precisely. Okay, so we are gonna do some practice and see how to get into the Piroflip. The first thing you can do to practice the Piroflip is to split it up into sections. So essentially we are going to combine two flips, the front flip and the back flip. So the first thing you can do is flip to vertical, turn the tail, and pull back. By that you're combining a front flip in the first half with a back flip in the second half, or the other way around, back and forth. You really want to coordinate this to get it to stop clean in the vertical and kind of turn the tail and come out clean, so your heli doesn't drift all over the place. And that is pretty much the first thing you want to practice. Once you've done this, you can start adding aileron, because at some point in this rotation, as you can see, the helicopter will be on its side, and at that point, you just saw me do it, you can add some aileron to bring the model around cleaner. So currently we're basically stopping in the middle. So this is now a compound motion out of 3 flips: back, right, front, front, left, back, or with left rudder, back, left, front, front, right, back. So essentially we are combining these 3 flips to get a continuous forward flipping motion. And as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, the cyclic motion for this almost looks like a half circle. So once you've practiced this a little more and can do it while coming out in place, you can kind of shorten the amount of flipping you do in this motion and get it to do a full pirouette per flip. So for example, my front left back motion, which I did for a complete flip right now, will only last to the center. So front, left, back, now I'm vertical, back, right, front, and I'm flipped completely with one complete pirouette. Let's do it back to upright, front, left, back, back, right, front, and I'm just pausing here in the middle to give you an idea what it should look like. This is of course again a continuous motion to control the helicopter through, and as you can see, I'm now doing a full circle on the cyclic as well. And also I found while learning Piroflips back in 2011 or whenever I learned them, that it really helps to speak the cyclic inputs as you give them. Of course I couldn't slow down real life, but what I did was I just climbed up, pirouetted, and gave cyclic inputs until the helicopter was inverted. So front, left, back, right, front, left, and eventually I came out inverted and I was like, oh my god, I just Piroflipped. And yeah, that's how I learned that, because I had no proper simulator back then. So yeah, that's basically a full pirouette per flip. You can keep practicing this, and then you can do this continuously. So why stop when you're inverted? You pull this through until you're inverted, and then you just keep doing the same motion again. Always giving front cyclic when the heli is facing forward, always giving left cyclic when the heli is facing left, etc. And the thing that I led you towards while doing all this is that we start by controlling the nose. So whenever the helicopter is pirouetting, you basically want to find the entry point into the Piroflip. And what I always do is I start pushing forward when the nose is away from me. That ensures that my flip axis will also be away from me and that I have a consistent entry point wherever I am. And of course, respectively, if I'm inverted, I start pushing when the nose faces towards me. That way you can ensure that you don't accidentally start flipping towards you, which can be scary and disorienting at first. And what you've seen me do now is just go full tail rotor rate and just stir the cyclic according to the tail rate while controlling the nose of the helicopter. So what I tend to do is to check where my nose is at all times in the rotation and always be at front elevator whenever the nose is in a specific position. So, for example, away from me, front, down, front, towards me, front, up, front. That is kind of my thought process in controlling pirouetting maneuvers, pirouetting flips specifically. So, let me break that down again for you. So the nose is facing away from me, so I'm giving it front elevator to start the flip. Now after one revolution the nose is facing down, so I know I need to be at front elevator again to bring it around. Then it goes inverted, I start giving front when it's facing towards me, and whenever I see the nose being up in the flip, I know I have to give front elevator again to bring it around the flip. So the nose of the helicopter is essentially my reference point to controlling the direction in which the model is flipping. Similarly, if I mess up a flip, I can correct it mid-flip by controlling the nose. So if it's like this, I can start stirring the cyclic in a way that brings it back. This is kind of a bit hard to explain, but for example, if I flip this way and I give forward cyclic when the nose is facing in the direction I want the model to rotate, brings it back. Similarly, the nose is facing towards me, I can bring it back into the correct flip axis. This is really something you have to learn to control, keeping the flip axis consistent. And yeah, it's the same for left and right movement. If the flip axis is crooked like this, the model will travel to the right, so you want to bring it back by tilting the flip axis in the other direction. You can achieve this by giving inputs a bit earlier when the nose is a bit earlier in the rotation or a bit later. So for example, you can tilt the flip axis when the nose is not quite vertical by giving elevator, and by that you're essentially doing the same as with continuous flips when you're tilting the flip axis to make it wander left and right. So enough for the slow-mo. Let's bring it back up to speed and just do a little recap on what we did in full speed. So, first thing, continuous flips should not be a problem for you. Then, split it up. Do a flip, rotate, pull back. Half flip, rotate, bring it around. Once you're comfortable with this, have Piroflips. Have steering motion on the cyclic, which also brings aileron into the flip. You can also do this slower than I'm doing right now. but just remember, gravity is now twice as strong as in slow-mo, and all rates are twice as fast as in slow-mo. So you just want to bring it around nicely, and once you can do that and understood how aileron plays into the entire thing, you can start doing full pirouettes during a flip, doing one complete revolution on the cyclic, always orienting yourself on the elevator, and then when you can do that, you can do complete flips, always with your reference point nose is away from me, nose faces towards me. And once you can do that, you can take the nose as a reference point to basically fly any flip rate you want. Piroflipping is really not that hard, you just need to check where the nose is in the revolution, and then, or you can also take the tail if you want to, and start by pulling elevator. That's really just personal preference. So let's see, what variations can we do? Of course there is the Piro Pogo, which is flying up, doing a half Piroflip, flying down again, flying up, half Piroflip, flying down again, up, half Piroflip, down again. You can do Piroflips traveling across the field. And you can also do a Piro Chaos. This is something Adrian has bugged me for. In a Piro Chaos, you're constantly changing the direction of the actual flip. So let's do that. You flip to the front, you flip to the left, you flip towards yourself, you flip to the right, and you flip back forward. That pretty much was a Piro Chaos. And that's also how it differs from a regular Piroflip. A Piroflip is just forward, a Chaos is the rotation of the axis. Something else you can do with a bit more head speed is a Piroflipping loop, which puts to the test how well you can control your Piroflip axis. So on the climbing part, just give it more collective, then travel to the right, then let it fall and bring it around to the left, and that is a Piroflipping loop. This of course takes a lot more practice than just a regular Piroflip, because you really need to be competent with moving your Piroflips around, and it's much more demanding than just keeping it in place. So I guess that's it for the Piroflip tutorial. I hope you learned something, and well, happy practicing!